Cool. So I will give a quick intro into the project we plan to do. And this project is going to be watching Jordan Peterson's Exodus series on Daily Wire Plus. And yeah, we'll probably do it episode by episode, but yeah, we will see what happens. Feminine and I. So the first 8 episodes have already been released. I can give you the ST. The second 8 will be released in March, so I think that's good timing. So by the time we get through the first 8 episodes, the next 8 will probably be released. And yeah, we're just going to talk about what comes up for us as we watch it. And yeah, I think that is all already, right? Like we'll just see what stands out to us and then talk about it and see if there's overlaps.
And I think like the biggest thing is we're trying to hone in on that OE. We're trying to take something that's kind of a big chunk of information and narrow it down into some truth bomb points, right? Some TNT truth bomb points. And so this, yeah, it's Exodus. They're reading straight from the Bible in the series, but then they're taking it apart and kind of analyzing it from a historical perspective. They're analyzing it from a psychological perspective. They're analyzing it definitely in a faith perspective as well. I would say the former is probably more so than even the spiritual faith aspect, although that does come in. So yeah, we're just going to take a look at that and do the same, but try to even condense it more.
Yes. And as you were speaking, I was wondering if we, at this point, we could already talk about what surprised us in the first episode.
Why not?
How did you experience watching the first episode?
Oh my goodness.
Which is a narrow down question already a little bit.
Yeah, good job. So what surprised me? I don't know if I was necessarily surprised by anything as much as I was just really, I'm just so enamored by discussions that are more NT based, which I think you mentioned there was a lot of N. So maybe as I'm processing, I wasn't surprised in the moment, but as I reflect, I think, wow, there was a lot of N speak going on. I didn't hear a lot of ST, some. And so I guess that's a little bit of a surprise. As far as the scriptures go, or even the observations about them, I would say I have heard before in some way, shape, or form. So, but I did write down some of the things that stood out to me more as I've matured, since the last time I've read Exodus, which has been a while. But what about you?
Yeah, the first word I wrote down was disconnect. And that is, I am so surprised, like the conclusions they took from the scripture. Like it felt to me there wasn't, sometimes I struggle to see the connection between the two things, which is, I don't know, like I was wondering if there's like an NE bias on the panel, which would make a lot of sense given Jordan Peterson is leading it as an NE driver, and he probably picks people who have NE. And I really enjoyed it though. Like I say, disconnect, but like I loved the wisdom coming through.
Yes.
I just struggle to see the connection between the actual scripture and what they took from it, which is was very interesting to me. And another
It'd be
thing
interesting to type some of them. Is Dennis Prager typed? I feel like he's a good figure. Do we know what his type is? Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay.
But yeah, maybe we can
speculate as we go on.
Some guessing. Yes. Yes. And I think that was the main surprise. And another thing is, like a lot of the things that Jordan talks about, I have heard before in different contexts. Like I realize how much of, well, it could be two things. Either it's he uses the Bible to make his point, which is probably partially true, but then also a lot of his points are sourced from biblical text. And so it goes both ways. And like,
I noticed he has a lot of psychology, obviously bias as well, but like not in a bad way. but he brings a lot of his practice and what he saw in his patients or in his clients into as like a source of confirmation to what scripture is saying, psychologically speaking. So I think I love that about Jordan in general, because I'm going, okay, that to me feels like at least some kind of ST point. Of course, it's, in any lead's perspective, but yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty unique, like this combination of like the psychological, which is more in the here and now, watching, being empirical about how human beings function. And
Yes.
then the biblical stuff is more abstract, more NF, I would say, even like more.
Yeah, well, it depends on what book you read. I think there's a reason why a lot of people can't read like Numbers and Deuteronomy, because it's very like maybe like SITE, because it's like the law and the rituals and like you do this thing specifically this way. And like, if you're an intuitive, you're like, oh my gosh, bleh, there's significance, but like to pull that in when it's so, ST can be hard.
Cool.